Hello friends, welcome to the Galapagos Islands. The trip that will start today is a trip of a lifetime. You are visiting the Galapagos Islands aboard the National Geographic Islander. This week we will have not only wonderful encounters with wildlife that are ecologically naive, but you will have also beautiful landscapes, and we will have also great company for our talented crew and staff, in addition to wonderful travel mates. We're far away from the mainland, 660 miles. In these islands, the isolation provoked a high degree of endemism. We'll love this trip.
Today is the first day of our expedition and we've landed at Cerro Brujo on San Cristobal Island. This is going to be a great opportunity for our guests to experience the uniqueness of these islands.
Here we are in the island of Española. This place is called Punta Suarez, and what you're looking at, you're hearing, are the big waves that come from the south. These strong waves with strong wind that blows during 9 months of the year produce what we call our cold season. Brings cold water, lots of nutrients, food for the many fish that live here and the many birds that nest in this island. This, my friends, is the famous blue-footed booby. He has a baby friend, which is his own baby. It's underneath the belly as well. So the albatross nests in the island of Española and nowhere else in the world. There are over 14 species of albatrosses. All of them live in the southern hemisphere. But this one, which is called waved albatross or Galapagos albatross, only nests in the island of Española and nowhere else. But its range of flight is pretty long, talking about several thousand miles into the open ocean. This behavior of these couples is essential for them in a number of reasons. The most important one is the bonding. They are monogamous. They have to rely on each other, and the baby will never survive unless both of them put a lot of energy in a coordinated action. So the bonding is made by the dancing. And that's why at the beginning of the season, which is April, they will start dancing and they will non-stop for 4 weeks. They lay on one single egg and they take care of the egg for the next 3 months. And then the baby, as it grows up, it will be fed by both parents. One of them stays with the baby, the other one goes fishing. Now the fishing in these birds is different from the other birds because they have big bodies. They can carry a lot of food relative to the other birds. So what they do is they swallow all these fish and squid and digest them, but they don't absorb them. Rather, they keep the oily liquid in the crop, up to a gallon. This is the oil that they will regurgitate to the babies. So the baby has already all these nutrients metabolized and digested by the parents. So the growth is unbelievable. Darwin finches among all the group of birds and animals actually we have in the Galapagos and in the world, they have been isolated from an original population. We know that genetically they come from a single group, no more than 30 birds. And from that group, they have evolved into 14 different species that are so different from each other that not only they don't interbreed, but also they don't look alike. You will not ever guess that they are closely related. It is called Galapagos hawk, and this is a very young chick, usually unseen because the nest is down there. But the chick came up to the roof. Please notice the strong talons and the long, sharp beak. This is the island of Floreana. What we're going to do is to visit this little peninsula. It's called Punta Cormoran. And we're going to look for photo opportunities. These flamingos live in this lagoon, not always, but they move from lagoon to lagoon, and they feed on shrimp. Yes, microscopic shrimp that lives on the surface of the lagoon.
That's what turns them pink.
That's what turns them pinkish or orange, because the shrimp has a pigment in the shell that is going to be accumulated in great amounts when you eat a lot. Try to look, think about reflections. Later on along the day and along the week, you'll have chance to take many pictures, but this morning was a little bit special in order to, to see the things that we'll be seeing, some shadows, some reflections, yes, and how you can work with them. So for example, a challenge picture here is to be able to get the clouds up and the clouds down. It's a common stilt. When they're babies, Barbie. Oh, grouper, snapper. I'm sure for that. Is there a specific type of duck? They're going to break the image of the clouds when they pass by. The wake is quite beautiful as well. It is the background which defines very much, our subject. If we change the subject with our camera, we might just get something blurry at the back, which can be nice as well. But why not adding something? Today we're going to the water. This is something that Darwin missed, all the underwater world, the ocean here in the Galapagos. We're going to see lots of different species, and during the snorkeling that we're going to have the chance to move around large schools of fish, sometimes sea lions as well.
Welcome to Post Office Bay. During the 1800s, we had whaling ships British whaling ships in the Galapagos. This started at the end of the 1700s, and we think that the post office was established here at the end of the 1700s. Then, like in the early 1800s, the US got an interest on this part of the Pacific, and they wanted to get rid of these British boats that were hunting for whales here. So they sent this boat called the USXS with David Porter is the captain of that boat. And he came to the Galapagos. His mission was to get rid of the British boats that were whaling in these waters. He came to Post Office Bay, checked their mail, and so then he knew where the boats were, and he went one after another one, and he got rid of all of these boats, and that was the end of the whaling in the Galapagos. Right? So now we can check the mail, and there's lots of mail here. So I want everybody to grab a bag, say the town or the state out loud, and then maybe one of you is able to take them. And then at the end, put your card in there, and then you can put the bag back in here.
Yeah, we already got one.
Oh, all right.
Right next
No
door.
way.
Next town.
Queen Creek, Arizona.
We'll take that.
Oh. Today, our guests are visiting the island of Santa Cruz, and this morning our guest did a visit around the facilities of the Charles Darwin Research Station, checking on different populations of giant tortoises that are kept in captivity to reproduce them and then put their youngs back on the island. By doing this, we're restoring the ecology of some of the islands, because with the native vegetarians, these islands are back to the natural dynamics. After visiting the Charles Darwin Research Station, our guests had the chance to walk across the community. The community of Puerto Ayora is the largest community in Galapagos. It's probably something like 18,000 inhabitants on the island. The economy of this town is run basically on tourism, so it's a really healthy economy. Right here at the El Trapiche farm, Don Adriano, the owner of the farm, cultivates sugarcane. The sugarcane is processed later into brown sugar, so our guests had the chance today to experience the traditional way of producing melassas, and from the melassas, brown sugar. As well, we got the chance to drink some of the moonshine that is produced out of the sugarcane juice.
The pipe cools off with the water and the steam. That's what happens, yes? During that prohibition, thank you. During that time. Come on, Australia drinks a lot.
Yeah.
Alcohol for the first time in their lives.
Chin chin.
Chin chin.
One more time.
Cheers.
I'll show you how we drink.
Fire in your mouth. Yes. Cells in your mouth are beginning to
Y adentro.
Come
As well, our guests experience the traditional way of roasting coffee. First, we got the chance to observe the coffee plants and the ripe beans. After that, the guests learn about the process of drying and peeling the skin of the beans and roasting the beans in a traditional way. And as well, had a chance to try the local coffee that's produced at the farm. Right now, we finally got to our lunch place. This is the Narwhal restaurant. But then after this beautiful lunch, we're gonna head up to the highlands of the island, even higher than here, to explore a giant tortoise territory where we expect to find different ages, different sexes in their natural habitat.
This is the place like the Grand Canyon. You have no idea what the Grand Canyon is like until you've been there. I've studied the Galapagos for decades in my profession, and I had no idea what it was really like until I got here.
They are working on keeping the tortoises to the islands that they belong to. Not just spreading them, not just saying, let's have them in zoos, not making them available to everybody, but to those who are willing to come here and see them and in their natural environments. This is also what they're doing with the land, with the trees and the environment totally.
We're hiking on South Plaza Island today. This is an uplifting the rise of the ocean floor. There's quite a few species that are interesting just on South Plaza. This small island is actually one of the main habitats for the land iguanas of the Galapagos. As we hiked on the path, several land iguanas were spotted. This is known as Galapagos carpetweed or Galapagos purslane. All of these spots of red and yellow. They are related to the ice plant in the US. Sesuvium pertulocrastrum is the scientific name. And the less water they have, the redder they're gonna be. When it rains a lot, this is all green. Today we got lucky to spot a few swallowtail gulls in South Plaza, and it's interesting and amazing just to see these guys with a breeding plumage. Some of the darker colors on the head, with this beautiful red eye around. These are nocturnal gulls, and this is the only nocturnal gull in the whole planet. It goes out at night looking for fish and squid mainly. The land iguanas of the Galapagos are one of the first species we help breeding in captivity here within the national park. And today we saw the natural habitat of these guys. They're reproducing naturally on this island, and the population is very healthy. These yellow dragons can live up to 60 years easily. And it's pretty pronounced sexual dimorphism between the females and males. We encountered several of them eating some prickly pears, basking under the sun, and some of them near the nesting grounds. Land iguanas are endemic to the Galapagos Islands, and this species is found on 6 different islands of the Galapagos. Today we're zodiac riding along the coast of Santiago Island, right across the bay from Chinese Hat.
We got lucky to spot a couple Galapagos penguins a few minutes after the first outing on the right. Along the coast, we also spotted quite a large variety of shorebirds. And we actually saw an interesting geology of a young lava field from 1897. This young lava field in Santiago is exactly the same area where we're going to hike on this afternoon, although that's going to be miles away from here. This is the only northern penguin in the world, the only one that crosses the equator line, and they're endemic just to the Galapagos Islands. The population is about 1,700 to 2,000, so to see 2 or 3 of them is quite a lot, actually. Today, Santiago has offered a lot. And right now, we're going to go back to the ship and get ready for snorkeling.
Welcome to Santiago Island at Sullivan Bay. This afternoon we're going to do a walk around this lava flow. This is a lava flow that's still geologically speaking very fresh. It was laid at the end of the 1800s, we think more or less 1897. And as you can see, so far it doesn't have much wildlife, or not very many things are growing. During the hike, we're going to start looking for some of these pioneer plants, okay? Plants that are colonizing the lava, slowly colonizing the lava, that can live under very hard conditions, specifically little water and almost no soil, all right? So, and plus we're going to check some of the geology of the area. Kind of volcanic activity that we have in Galapagos is very similar to the volcanic activity in Hawaii. Both archipelagos are volcanic due to the activity of a hotspot. Now, this flow right here is mainly what's called pahoehoe lava. Pahoehoe is a Hawaiian word that geology has adopted, and it means ropey lava. You gotta think of this when it's fresh and when it's moving, you know, as like a very viscous material, like almost like hot fudge or hot chocolate. And when it's flowing, the top part of the flow is in contact with the air and it's gonna cool down first. But before it hardens, you know, there's a little bit of flexibility, so the lava keeps on pushing, it rolls a bit, and then makes these beautiful shapes. But there are other pieces that are like more broken, and those are called a'a lava. And that's also a Hawaiian term that means ow, ouch, ouch, ow, okay? Because it'll be very hard to walk on. And then the lava, it's also fresh, it's moving, you know, not as viscous, it has a bit more gas, so it moves a bit faster. So when this rolling motion happens, instead of, you know, staying like a rope shape, it breaks like a wave. And then the rocks get real sharp and it's impossible to walk. So most of our lava fields in Galapagos are very similar to the lava fields in Hawaii, and we also use the same names for them, you know, pahoehoe and a'a lava. This is a lava cactus. This is a truly pioneer plant. It's very hard for the first piece to start growing, but once it starts, the younger parts use the older parts as soil.
Today we're visiting Genovesa Island, also known as Tower. And this is the seabird island in the Galapagos. There's at least about 300,000 birds flying around here in this visitor site. It's just very overwhelming to find how a lot of the birds here are ecologically naive, and one can just take a very good picture and take another one, and the bird would just sit there. I would say birds in Galapagos can be one of the best models for photography. And if you see all the way up there, in within the bushes, there's two guys with a blue bill, see them? And red feet. Those are two red-footed boobies. Now, red-footed boobies are not endemic. You find red-footed boobies in Hawaii, South America, and Central America as well. So they're not unique to Galapagos. We have probably the largest population in the world, about 500,000 red-footed boobies on this island, actually. So it's actually a pretty healthy population. On this visitor site, we might have about 200,000 in this little area. Most of them are fishing, but this time of the day. But we will see some of the chicks and some of the females on their nests. 5% of the red-footed booby population is white, and about 95% of them are brown. This is a different morphotype, same species. Now, the red-footed boobies are the only species of booby that will have prehensile feet. Their feet are articulated in a way that they go 360 degrees around a branch. So those are the last species of boobies to establish in Galapagos, because they needed to have vegetation to establish first. They are the only species that nest on trees. Look at the genetic defect, did you see it? Little mini feet. He's very healthy, I'll tell you. The chick is quite hungry, so it's asking for food. The noise of the chick stimulates the adults to regurgitate. Watch. Territorial behavior, so. All right.
Remember the day before yesterday, I was talking about...
How many species of frigates do we have in the world? 2 in Galapagos, 5 in the whole planet. Our 2 species of frigates, this one is known as a great frigate bird. We have 2 names, magnificent and great, they're common names. But the great frigate birds actually are only inhabiting the northern islands, like this one, Genovesa. Frigates follow an interesting behavior in biology known as kleptoparasitism. Kleptoparasitism is basically a behavior when a frigate, in this case, is gonna grab another bird up on flight, grab it by the tail, shake it, and make it regurgitate, make it puke, and eat whatever comes out. They're thieves. They do that with the boobies. We call them booby shakers in Spanish. They grab the booby, they shake it, and make it regurgitate. Frigates are ocean birds that cannot dive into the ocean. All they do is skim the water. Look at that beak, looks like a hook. They nip the fish out of the surface. Their printing gland or oil gland is atrophied, it doesn't work. And so if they actually touch the water, they could get wet easily. And it would be very hard for them to take off because they have short legs. They cannot take off from the ocean. Frigates are ocean birds that can easily get drowned, actually. Frigates do build, nests on little bushes. They don't do it on trees like the red-footed boobies. And they have one single egg. The father and the mother are gonna help incubate the egg, and it takes about 50 to 55 days for that egg to hatch. Then it takes about up to 160 days, 180 days before the chick can handle life on its own. It's truly a very long process to incubate an egg and raise a chick. So frigates, as an individual, they'll mate every single 2 years, but as a species, you see them mating every year.
This week has come to an end. It is amazing all the things we have seen. What I want you to take home with you is all the impressions, all the feelings, all the pictures, all of that to your local communities. Galapagos is a great example for conservation in our planet. If something is happening to this island, if something is happening to your local communities, please put it into action. Galapagos is a great example for that. I hope to find you somewhere, somehow, in this wonderful planet of us. The Galapagos are a good example about how the world is supposed to be. Thank you for traveling with Limelight Expeditions, National Geographic.
I think one of the things that I learned here is how conservation actually works. And this could be a lesson to the rest of the world. The place is very conservation oriented, and they really know how to do it. And they've done a great job so far in bringing back endangered species and breeding the tortoises and protecting the land itself.
Lindblad, in concert with National Geographic, I think gives anybody that participates or is a learning experience that's so enjoyable at the same time and important. What you learn is very, very important, and the naturalists that are part of this experience are so informed and are so full of information that you can't take a trip like this without learning and being exposed to an awful lot of things that help you be a better human being going forward. At least I think so.
The boobies, the albatross, actually being there, seeing them do their dance, but they're just amazing. They're just in front of you. They're right there. And they're not behind bars, they're not held up. This is their natural habitat, and we've been lucky enough to see it.